Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn, where we discuss films of all kinds from every time period. My name is Knight, and I hope you all are well. First thing, the purpose of this channel is for entertainment, education, and discussion. I do not give a if you like my opinions or agree. The discussions are better if you don't. If you agree, that's cool too. Yes, we have something in common. All comments are welcome. I'm not a film student, expert, or filmmaker. However, I do study film, and I have seen a ton of movies and typically have decent insight on themes, originality, and the overall quality of a film. My opinions come from how films make me feel and the experience I had with them, how I connect them to real life situations and actual human emotions. Now, let's get into the content. This first video today, we are going to discuss the best decades for film. I like films from each and every decade, and I do find it interesting to watch films from all time periods and compare them to the films of others. So, we will be discussing, in my opinion, of course, the best decades for film. Us film lovers are always fascinated by the year a film was released. It tells you a lot of things about a movie, the way they dress, the music being played, the treatment of certain characters for various reasons related to the human experience of that time, the type of content that was accepted and not, everything from cinematography, score, styles of direction being displayed on the screen in front of you. Different decades yielded different types of films, and you can easily tell what decade a film is from just by watching it for a few minutes or even a few seconds. We all like certain types of films more than others for various reasons. It can be when we were born, what we grew up on, or what we just naturally gravitated to. So let's discuss the best decades for film. I picked three, the best three, in my opinion, of course. Let's start with number three, the 1950s, the golden era of Hollywood. This is the time of the post-World War II era in Hollywood. If you're an American, this is an interesting and pretty great time to be alive. Many new things and increased leisure time made for a comfortable living experience. The rise in fast food, drive-in movies, in-home television sets, and all-electric homes were very quickly changing the future of this country. Teenagers were having a major influence on spending and helping shape the culture with rock music and hot rod cars. The 50s were the era of the anti-hero, the rebels. Big names came to stardom such as Marlon Brando, one of my personal favorites, James Dean, and bad boy Paul Newman. Kim Novak, Ava Gardner, and the lovely Marilyn Monroe were some of our female anti-heroes. We saw these young bunch of method actors shaping the future of acting, which is still heavily used in today's game. Some could go as far as to say the actors of the 50s changed acting and the way it was approached forever. Films of the 50s were typically black and white, fun, gritty noir films of crime, love, and the post-war American experience. The 50s showed a time of new directing styles, more intense and dialogue-heavy acting with deep emotions, a shift away from some of the quirky, fun cliches of the 40s movies. There is a realness and simplicity from these movies, of these times, that we can connect with and relate to, even if we were different from the people being portrayed in front of us. This is one of the first eras of human relatable experiences being commonly displayed in cinema. The best movies of the 50s: All About Eve, Vertigo, Sunset Boulevard, The Seven Samurai, Wild Strawberries, Bridge on a River Kwai, On the Waterfront, Some Like It Hot, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, A Tokyo Story. The best actors: Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, Humphrey Bogart, William Holden, Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, Audrey Hepburn, Kim Novak, Jane Russell, Grace Kelly, Burt Lancaster, Betty Davis. Now, let's move on to number 2, the 1970s, the American New Wave. Low point for finances, high point for creativity. The industry started to loosen up on violence, nudity, and adult content. The hippie movement, civil rights movement, free love, rock and roll, and the Vietnam War were all in full swing, which brought on an entire new wave of creative content. Young new filmmakers were taking risks, and it was paying off. The European New Wave movement had a big impact on young American directors. This is a time where we saw the emergence of some of the most influential filmmakers of all time, some still working today. Spielberg, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Robert Altman, Ridley Scott, Stanley Kubrick. This was also the decade where the blockbuster was born, a model still being used in the industry today, with Jaws and Star Wars, huge box office juggernauts paving the way. Home video also took off as well. The 1970s was a decade of creativity. The filmmakers of the time stripped down their experiences and put them on the screen in front of us. They showed us where they came from, how deep the imagination can go, and didn't hold back doing it. The 70s just had so much style and freedom. People were expressing themselves in all kinds of new ways, and they weren't afraid to do it. Films of the 70s were hypnotic experiences that riddled your brain and made you think long after viewing them. Violence, sex, and the display of how real humans act when not on camera made these films magical. The best films of the 1970s: Taxi Driver, Chinatown, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Godfather 1 and 2, Apocalypse Now, The Exorcist, Jaws, Star Wars, A Clockwork Orange, The Deer Hunter, Close Encounters of a Third Kind, Alien, Carrie, Nashville, Harold and Maude, A Woman Under the Influence, Network, The Bitter Tears of Petra Von Kant, Celine and Julie Go Boating. The best actors of the 70s: Robert De Niro, personal favorite of mine, Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, Michael Caine, Richard Dreyfuss, James Caan, Robert Duvall, Martin Sheen, Clint Eastwood, John Cassavetes, Sidney Poitier, John Cazale, Meryl Streep, Diane Keaton, Sissy Spacek, Shelley Duvall, Faye Dunaway, Pam Grier, Cher, and Barbara Streisand. Now I wanted to take a quick second, ask you guys to kindly like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content. I will have my TikTok and Instagram link below. You guys can follow me there if you like. All you film lovers should be following me because we can have some fun conversations, all right? I got a streaming recommendation for you guys, HBO Max if you have it, Onibaba, 1964 Japanese horror film directed by Kenido Shindo. Check it out. Pretty good if you like foreign films. Absolutely check it out. Great film. Let's get back into the content. All right. Number 1. And guys, I'm not biased, but I am born in this decade. The 1990s. The era of indie CGI remakes and sequels. The 1990s were a fun and interesting time. This may seem biased because I was born, but this was really the best decade for films. The 90s were all about the money. We were getting super high budget films and blockbusters, and the era superstars were very costly to secure. Home video was huge, with about 3/4 of homes having one. Rentals were at an all-time high. Movie watching was becoming more accessible with the rise of the internet and Netflix launching in 1998. Indie films were starting to gain a lot of traction. Although they may not pull in the kind of money the big blockbusters did, they did well on home video and garnered considerable acclaim in major film awards, which added major touch of diversity to the films that we were being made, being seen, and with that, the 90s birthed some of the greatest and most influential films of all time. The blockbusters were huge too. CGI, computer-generated images brought us films like Toy Story, Jurassic Park, Independence Day, Terminator 2, The Matrix, and a whole lot more. A lot of this plays a major role in how films are made, marketed, and consumed today. The 90s cannot be talked about without discussing the great year of 1999. I don't know if it was the turn of the century or what, but the amount of amazing films being released this year is just insane. Think about this: The Matrix, Fight Club, American Pie, Eyes Wide Shut, Toy Story 2, The Green Mile, Boys Don't Cry, Election, American Beauty, The Mummy, The Phantom Menace, whether you like it or not, The Sixth Sense, Office Space, Magnolia, Austin Powers, Big Daddy, Sleepy Hollow, The Blair Witch Project, Dogma, Being John Malkovich, Jawbreaker, Audition, Deuce Bigelow, South Park Movie, Detroit Rock City, Virgin Suicides, Any Given Sunday, Drop Dead Gorgeous, Talented Mr. Ripley, The Iron Giant, Pokemon 2000. All of these films came out in the same year. That is just insane to think about. And there's so many more. I just couldn't even name them all. If I did not name your favorite movie from 1999, I apologize, but there was just too many to name. So just let that sink in for a second. But let me know your favorite film from 1999 in the comments. The best films of the 90s. And there's a lot. And I'm probably going to miss yours, but don't hesitate to tell me what it is. Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, The Matrix, Boogie Nights, one of my personal favorites, Leon, The Professional, Point Break, Kids, Starship Troopers, Cure, The Blair Witch, Saving Private Ryan, Dazed and Confused, Silence of the Lambs, Terminator 2, Fight Club, Goodfellas, Casino, Reservoir Dogs, Flowers of Shanghai, Groundhog Day, The Truman Show, Heat, Thelma and Louise, Magnolia, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Clueless, Unforgiven, Schindler's List. There are just way too many to name. I apologize if I missed your favorite 90s movie. The best actors: Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, Tom Cruise, Harrison Ford, Michael Douglas, Nick Nolte, Jim Carrey, Johnny Depp, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, Sandra Bullock, Jodie Foster, Susan Sarandon, Winona Ryder, Gina Davis, Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Samuel L. Jackson, Robin Williams, Kevin Spacey. Guys, there's just too many great actors, great films to name from the 90s. And that is why it is the #1 film for decades. And I possibly don't think it will ever be topped anytime in my lifetime. And probably not yours either. So let me know what your favorite decades for film is. Let me know what your favorite films from those decades are, favorite actors, directors, whatever. If you guys got an idea for something you would like me to cover, let me know in the comments below. Guys, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, help me out. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok, only if it pleases you, but I'll be posting fun little clips, questions, and things like that there. Let's have some discussions. This is Don't Forget the Popcorn. Thank you, and I will see you in the next episode.